How to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, I'm Brooke, hanging out with you on this very, very frigid Monday. It has been super cold. I'm wearing like 3 pairs of pants today just because I just cannot tolerate it. And of course, I have the dog. I don't know if you follow me on social media or not, but I have this crazy dog who was adopted from Thailand. And for whatever reason, he does not go in the backyard. So no matter the weather, the temperature, the conditions, I am walking that dog. So I decided to buy him some pajamas, and they're a little big. And I kept laughing this weekend thinking, oh, I wonder what he's saying about me in his mind. So he just keeps giving me like the side eye, like, you going to take this off me? But when he went out this morning, he was very grateful to be wearing his flannel pajamas. So that's my little tidbit about my dog and the temperatures today. Of course, another thing that happened is all the elevators seem to be out everywhere today. We're in Royal Oak, of course, and the parking structure is where I park, and the elevator was out there. And then here at Every Media, the studios are in the basement, and that elevator was out. So not only were we able to wear our flannels or 3 layers today, we've also been able to work out and warm up, making it to where we needed to be because the elevators were out. So thank you so much for joining us. So we have a very interesting show. A lot of times I get guests because I stalk them on Facebook. Something will pop up for me and I will find it so interesting, and I'll think, you know what? I think we need to talk about that, or I think we need to, raise awareness for it. So Amy Evers is here. You are the founder of A Courageous Voice. And first of all, it's a nonprofit.
Yes.
But tell me what this is.
So we actually work in schools, and we teach children K through 12 how to stay safe, both offline and online. But we also work with parents and educators and all relevant adults as well to be able to raise awareness and help them have an idea of like what signs to look for, what to watch for, and how to have the open conversations with the kids.
Okay, so why did you start this?
I am a survivor of child sexual abuse, and working with children for more than 30 years and working in the nonprofit sector, this was such a common theme that I was seeing, not just for CSA, but really all kinds of abuse, exploitation. The internet was coming around, and we were seeing more and more around children. They didn't know didn't have anybody to talk to. Mm-hmm. If they did, would that safe adult listen to them, be able to talk to them in a way that didn't make them feel shameful or anything like that. So I was seeing a common theme, and I thought there needs to be more awareness around this. What can I do? And I knew that I would never be able to work with survivors, mm-hmm. But prevention education, I knew could get ahead of all of this, right, and is really key. So that's where I started 5 years ago.
Okay, so it's interesting to me that you said that you knew you wouldn't be able to talk to survivors. Is that because of the trigger points?
Yeah, it's very traumatic.
It is.
Yeah, and there's nothing, like I can't fix it. I can't help them because I know how they feel, mm-hmm. And I can't really do anything about it. So, and I knew that if I could help empower children to have a voice, if they ever were in an uncomfortable situation, who could they go to? Who was that safe adult that they could talk to that would really help them out? So for me, it was my mom.
Okay.
And I don't know that I would be here today without her.
Right. So this is such a tough topic and tough subject, and I guess I should have said that we'd be talking about this, so I apologize for that. But the whole idea of, I know during COVID especially, mm-hmm. All the kids were on their screens. We've said it for years now, that there's been a huge impact of that,
sure.
of kids being online and maybe not exactly being watched or checked. And, let's face it, during that time, people were just like, oh no, go on your little pad, go on your iPad, do, just whatever. But how do we protect our kids? And I mean, I guess it's as simple as that. How do we do it? Because it is a tough thing. I mean, it really is. When you're working and you're juggling things and you're like, oh, you want to watch YouTube again? Sure, that's fine. And you say, oh, let me hear, I know for me, I keep my kids within hearing distance. So I can hear what they're watching if I'm not even seeing it, but you can kind of gauge it, right? But I do know that if there's a long lapse of silence, I will be like, so, hey, what are you watching? And then it was like, oh, nothing. and then you've got to check.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, we talk about a lot of different ways that you can work with your kids. Have a central charging station, for instance, at night, not allowing especially younger children to take their phones in at night with them when they go to bed, and have the open conversations. No cell phones at the dinner table. Go back to having dinner and having the open conversations where children feel safe enough just to talk and have a conversation with you. You will learn so much about your children if you just relax, have dinner, and like not just how are you, but how are you? Like,
Right.
how was your day? What was something great that you learned at school today? And kids when they feel safe, they will tell you just about everything. Or that's been my experience.
Well, yeah. So I was going to say too, in the car seems to be a time when they all of a sudden you're driving and all of a sudden they'll say something and you're like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And then you realize you have to really tune in and pay attention to what they're saying or even what they're saying to their siblings.
Yeah.
Because they'll start talking and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I'll just eavesdrop and see what I can get out of this conversation. Right?
It's really important. The car's another great place. Dinner table, the car, at night, even when you're sitting around watching TV, if a commercial comes on or, you take a break or whatever, it's really just anything. Right. Just really just stay in conversation with your kids, and also be a good listener. Don't react, respond.
Okay, so that's the tough thing.
Yeah.
And right? And Aubrey, I know you it's very hard to not react sometimes. And I know actually this just happened to me with Carson. He said, I want to talk to you, but I don't want you to get upset.
Right.
And so I took a deep breath and I thought, okay, I don't know what he's going to say, but I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to promise him I'm not going to get upset. And so I said, okay, go ahead. And so he did. And it wasn't as bad, it was minor, honestly. But then I said, okay, thank you for telling me. We will deal with this. And so then he said, you're not going to yell? You're not mad? And I said, no, I promised you I wouldn't. And he's like, oh, how about now? And it was like this, and I don't yell. I'm not a yeller anyway, but it was funny because it was like, okay, sure. Like he'd walk away and be like, still good? I'm like, still good. And it made a difference.
That's perfect.
But it really made a difference to not react.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
That breeds more trust between you and your child or you and your children. So they're more apt to come back to you again. The safer they feel.
The more they talk, right?
Exactly. And it's not that like they're not going to get in trouble sometimes if they made a bad decision or whatever, but it's really important to, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the why and ask open-ended questions.
Okay, so give me an example of one of those.
So if you came to me and you really wanted to tell me that something happened online, and I would say, well, tell me more about that. Instead of saying, who was it? Because we go into mama bear mode.
Yep,
right?
for sure.
And so responding instead of reacting, which also helps a child who has been through especially significant trauma. We're teaching them how to respond and not react because I spent most of my life in survival mode and, abusive relationships and all the things that go along, when a child goes through abuse. And so I didn't learn until much later in life. And I was able, thank goodness, to teach my children how to respond instead of react.
So child abuse, the stats are not good. There's a case reported, every 13 seconds?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And there's the ones that we know about, right? The average age of someone who has been sexually abused as a child, they typically don't even say anything until they're around the age of 50.
50? Really?
Yeah.
Why? Is it because they buried it, or it's just because you go through life and you're surviving? You're
fearful. If it was a family member or somebody the family knows, which more than 90% of CSA is by a family member or somebody the family knows, you don't want to rock the boat. It might be taboo or something like that. And then you're the one having to live with it for the rest of your life and learn how to cope and deal. And then I can also tell you that, someone who's been sex trafficked, more than 60% of those were sexually abused as a child first.
Really?
Yes. So there's a link.
Okay.
And so we really work hard to get ahead of this, and we do it in such a fun and engaging way with kids that they learn how to show up online, like their digital citizenship. So they're
I love
also,
that.
yeah,
I love that.
they're also being empowered. And so we talk about bullying and cyberbullying and all kinds of different things that go along with victimization or polyvictimization. So
How do schools reach out to you? How have you been able to get into the schools and the programs, and what age are you focused on?
So it is K through 12.
Okay.
We serve both Oakland and Wayne County schools. I can tell you that we have 3 coming up. We have an after-school program coming up in 2026, a high school, and then 2 high schools and 3 more middle schools. So that's a pretty full load for us.
It is.
It's really exciting. Typically, if we get funding, like we just received a grant, and that will take care of most of one school district.
Okay.
It's really amazing.
Wow.
Because most schools don't seem to have the funding. And so we have to raise funds to be able, to get in there and reach these
Okay,
the
so you
kids.
do have, there's a candle shop.
Yeah.
Right? I not only stalk everyone on
I see
Facebook,
that.
I go to the website. It's usually at 2 a.m. and I'm like, more coffee. And whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the candle, that's one way you fundraise, right?
So it is. I started making candles when I started this during COVID. And as soon as we were able to get out, I started, this was something else, going to the farmer's market every Saturday morning.
Which one?
The Oakland County Farmers Market.
Yep.
To sell candles as a way to stay up and running. I was one person trying to do all of this. And so being able to get out and fundraise was really, really difficult. And so the candles have just kind of become a thing now.
I love that.
Yeah. So I do have people that reach out and buy and come by the office. We now have a new office space. We're not in my basement anymore. Yeah.
That's always delightful.
It's always delightful. So
Okay, so you have an office now. And how many years have you been official?
5 years.
It's been 5 years.
5
Okay.
years in October. And then in it was August when we moved in
Okay.
to our new space.
So, as yourself being a survivor, and because we know a lot of people do not come forward, you just said maybe not until they're 50.
Yeah.
That's a long time to live with that. So, what do you say to somebody who is a survivor and has maybe not, I don't want to say not dealt with it, but has not, well, I guess it is dealt with it, right?
Yeah. There have been times where men and women have heard my story and come up to me, and I was like the first person they ever told. That's massive, like huge. And so I'm not a therapist or anything. So I listen, I just listen. And have you talked to anybody about this? Maybe consider those kinds of things. But it's really, really hard for people to talk about, especially for children if they're being exploited online. Sextortion is on the rise. Like there's a lot.
Okay, so what is sextortion? Give us the
Sextortion
definition.
is where I'll give you an example.
Okay.
A young girl she's met somebody online who she thinks is her age.
Okay.
They're really not her age. And the next thing you know, he is exploiting her for money. So her parents' money, and if she doesn't do certain things,
Okay.
exactly.
Is that where it's like, oh, send me a picture, and then it's almost like a blackmail situation?
It is a blackmail situation, yes.
Okay. All right. So how do
Yeah.
parents prevent that from happening?
You have just stay in touch with your kids. The apps, there are new apps popping up every single day, so it's really impossible for parents to keep up with all the apps that are out there.
Right.
But set the privacy settings on your child's phone. It is, in my opinion, my child, well, they're grown now,
Right.
but before, and they had to share a phone back in the day, but I knew who they were talking to all the time. Like I just didn't take any chances, and I didn't care if they didn't like it or not.
Right,
I'm
see.
not here to be your
Right,
friend.
yeah.
I'm your parent, and it's
Right.
my job to protect you. And I know that I was a little heightened probably than the average parent
sure.
anyway, but yeah, just if you stay in touch with your kids and they feel safe enough, most of the time, they're going to feel comfortable enough. Or maybe they tell a friend. So when the friends come over, know who their friends are, know who the parents are, your kids are hanging out with. Stay active in their life.
Yes. So funny I'm kind of laughing just because my twins, they're 13, but they have the Gab phone. And they get so mad at me because it's like, listen, I'm not going to take the chance.
Right.
Right? You just have to be careful. And they're like, we've got these baby phones. And I'm like, at least they work.
They work.
But they only work to who you have the contacts in.
Exactly. And that's good parenting.
But then when they do get mad, I mean, they get mad.
Sure.
They're 13. They get mad, right? The stomping and the eye rolling and all that. But you're like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable yet knowing, they have independence to some degree.
Right.
And how do you know they're not talking to somebody when they're not in the room? And you just, you have to be careful, but it does make me laugh because they are just having a full-blown fit about the Gab phone. And I'm like, talk to your dad about the contract. He's the one who did it.
That's great. I think that's fantastic, though, and you're an involved parent, so it matters. And they'll appreciate it when they get older.
Well, it's funny. So, they're like little old souls. And so just sometimes they'll say, we will thank you for this later, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm banking on it, kid.
I can attest.
Can you? Okay.
It does happen.
So
Yeah.
how old are your kids now?
30 and 28.
Okay, so 30. Do they have kids yet?
No. Oh, I can't wait to be a grandmother, though. I can't wait.
Okay, so, I mean, have they thanked you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and yes. Like
Okay.
time and time again. My son, it happened about when he was 28, and my daughter is just now coming around,
Okay.
where she's like, I don't know what I would do without you. And I was like, okay, this is good. It does
You're
come
like,
back around.
redemption. You're like, yay.
Yeah.
So how's the volunteer situation for you?
It's going pretty good. We
Okay.
are working on having somebody help us out with that. We're growing so fast.
That's awesome.
And so I have an extraordinary board of directors. They are absolutely amazing. We have Nauk Doe from Vibe Credit Union. We have Dan Russell. We have a lot of great people. Lexi Schwartz, who's our board president, she's 20 years in human trafficking. She's worked. So Hannah McPeak. We have just an amazing board of directors.
And it sounds like a great fit.
It is a great fit, yeah. Yeah, we do talk about child trafficking as well. That is a part of it. But how do they even get there?
Right.
So what's happening in those early stages that we want to get in front of the kids to help them understand that if somebody has touched you inappropriately or even said something to you inappropriate, it's not okay.
Right.
And for me, as a child, I didn't know what was happening to me was wrong. And that's really common. So we want them to know that they can go and talk to somebody. So our board is amazing. They're out there every single day doing something, talking to somebody, raising funds. And I would not be on this couch and be
It's
where
a lovely
couch.
couch.
It is. I love this couch. But we wouldn't be where we are right now. We just wouldn't be without a great board of directors.
So what's your biggest need right now?
Funding.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Phil always laughs whenever I ask that.
That's a question I know the answer to all too well.
Funding.
Always, right?
Yes, it's funding. So we need to begin paying staff.
Okay.
I haven't ever been paid, I don't think. So, but really putting people in the right place to get out there and help this get to the next level because it's so needed. And unfortunately, I think it's something that will always be needed.
And do you think it's getting worse? Or is it staying? I know it's a loaded question, but
I do think it's getting worse.
is it changing, though, in the way?
Yes, AI has definitely come to the forefront with deep fakes and different things like that are happening. We have children that are actually having relationships with ChatGPT now. And just, different things like that are happening. It's not that AI is bad. It's that they need to know how to use it appropriately, just like a cell phone.
Right.
So,
or a computer or any technology,
of that.
right?
Yeah.
What's the website?
It is a courageousvoice.org.
Okay, you also have a Christmas tree somewhere.
Yeah. Well, yes. Today is the last day at La Fontaine.
Get out there.
It's the Subaru dealership in Commerce. But we also have one in Rochester Hills. And that is down at the Rochester Village of Rochester.
Yes.
There we go.
Yep.
It is in front of Menchie's. It is an in-person vote. So please go check out our tree and vote for us. We have an opportunity to win $5,000. And we have an after-school program that needs that money desperately so that we can come in and work with their children most of the year.
Okay.
So that would be awesome. And then we have our first gala coming up.
I love galas. Everyone
in
knows that about
April.
me.
I'll make sure you get an invitation.
Yes, so that's in April.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
in April 18th. So you can check out our website for that as well. And then we also, when volunteer opportunities come up, we have that on the website as well.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Amy. It's a
thanks
pleasure
for
to
having
finally.
me.
Thank you for responding to all my DMs on Facebook. I appreciate it. I'm always like,
welcome.
listen, I'm really legit. I promise you. Which is ironic, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, who is this person?
I did look you up.
Well, I would assume nothing less, actually. No, seriously, thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
I know it's very tough, but what's so interesting too, I think, is that obviously our personal experiences shape who we are and maybe even what we do, right? And so, I mean, I know that you've said because of your experience as a child, this is how you knew you could help.
Yes, I could give back and
Give back and help in a way
Yeah.
that is safe for you because that's important as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So another person too is, it's very funny, and these transitions are always tough for me, but Dr. Saul Kogan, you know, he has been a doctor to the Detroit Lions, to the Detroit Tigers, and he's the founder of the Nerve and Disc Institute. And what's so interesting is how he started because somebody helped him. Let's watch.
Many years ago, when I was in high school, I had a really, really, really bad injury, and I found someone that looked outside of the box and helped me. And from that day on, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. You know, it was kind of a group approach like we do with professional athletes, and I decided that day I was going to provide that same type of treatment that professional athletes get because it's the right thing to do. Last August, so a year ago, I was in South America skiing, and we were jumping 20-foot cliffs, and I blew out my back. Literally came home in a wheelchair. Couldn't walk, had horrible pain down my leg. It really inspired me because I forgot how debilitating it is when you have a problem like that, and it affects every aspect of your life. And all I could think about was, when I get better, how much better I'm going to do helping my patients, because I felt their pain. I know their pain, and I want to do everything for them that I did for myself to get better.
And Dr. Kogan has developed the intradisc neutrosis treatment, which is non-surgical, all-natural, and non-invasive for conditions like sciatica, spinal stenosis, bulging, and herniated discs. And what's so funny is that I actually had somebody say to me last week, "Oh, that guy, he's so popular. I'm sure he doesn't still see patients." And he does actually see patients, and he says he really enjoys it. So there's a good chance that if you book an appointment with him, you may actually see Dr. Kogan. He does have 3 locations. Farmington, Clinton Township, and Grand Blanc. And of course, the best part of the deal is if you mention Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, you'll actually get 50% off your treatment plan, and you can check him out at nervediscinstitute.com. Here is a true story. There have been a couple of his patients that I've actually spoken to personally who had surgery scheduled, and they kind of went to see Dr. Kogan as a last-ditch effort, and they're glad they did. They were able to cancel that surgery, and they were better within weeks. So really, he's very popular, but it does work, and he's a great guy all around. So please go check him out if you're in pain, because as he said right there, you don't want to live in chronic pain because it really does affect every aspect of your life. So again, you can check out nervediscinstitute.com. Okay, we're back. And Aubrey, you have been here many times, and of course we hung out at the Mackinac Policy Conference. It was so fun to see you. You are with VOAMI, Volunteers of America, Michigan. You are adopting families. You're not personally adopting families, but
I'll adopt one.
Yes, of course. But you know, the need is so great this year, and I know that it's more than doubled for you guys for adopting families. Right? And this is your Christmas program to help them. And so kind of tell us a little bit about this.
Absolutely. So this year has been really challenging. We generally open up the ability for adoptees to submit their applications in September, and we leave that process open for a couple of weeks and get to around 2,000 families, and then we shut it off because we really want to be able to match as many families as we can. This year, within 2 days, we had 3,000 families submit for adoption. So unfortunately, we had to close the window for adoptees adoptees at that time because we don't want to kind of lead people astray.
Sure.
And so we are in the home stretch right now for people to adopt. We have 1,000 families adopted,
Okay.
but we still have another 1,200 who made it through the whole process with documentation that still need adopters.
Okay.
So today is technically the last day to go and adopt on the website, but there are plenty of ways to do it. You can go and adopt, and you can buy gifts on Amazon and have them shipped directly to the family. You can make a donation and we will shop for the family. There are so many ways to make it happen, but we are really in this home stretch to try and meet community need this year.
And I think it's important to say too that you can read these family stories, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing because this is, so often people think, oh, these people just want something for free. And you hear all this stuff and, people are not really, for the most part, going to ask for help if they don't need it.
That is exactly right. I always say it is the most difficult thing to reach out and say, can you please help me? And what's been so sad is that after the application closed, my email's on the website. And so I continuously get emails from families like, is there any way that you can help me? I mean, stories of, tragedy within the family or children with disabilities that have been in the hospital and getting medical treatment. And to have to say to those families, like, we have all we can take right now is really, really difficult. But you can go on and hear the story and what their need is. So first of all, they vouch that they have a true need for this
Right.
service, right? And then you can read about them and you can figure out how you can match your resources to a family in need. The program is really beautiful because you are offered the opportunity to meet the family that you adopt.
Oh, in person.
So in person, right?
Really?
And
Okay.
so people have said, well, why are you going to take that risk in sharing information? There's a beauty in community connection where a family who has said, I'm struggling, meets a community member who says, I am here to help you. Like, I care about you enough to reach out and do this for you. And so we have made that the mainstay of the program. And we ask that people are adopted by today, obviously, because if not, families need to kind of figure out what they're going to do about that if they don't get
Right.
adopted. But it is beautiful to be able to have that community connection and get to know someone in your community and be able to see where those gifts are going.
Well, and to put a face to the gift that you're giving, right? To be able to say, oh, that's for that child.
Exactly.
And I imagine the expressions on the family's faces.
I mean, they are undeniable, right? Like
Right.
it's the best part of the holiday season for me and for my family to be able to connect with another family, but to be able to give of the spirit of the holiday. And then this truck is going to that little boy over
Right,
there. And
exactly.
what's interesting though is this year, one of the biggest asks
I
that
was
we
just-
have is for cleaning supplies.
Really?
And so that also speaks to this really great need. We always have people asking for coats, hats, gloves, but cleaning supplies have been really big. And I think that goes to show kind of how families are challenged this year. And so we'll always see, a couple of toys for the kids
sure, yeah.
on there. But a lot of these basic necessities are really what families are asking for this holiday season.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it speaks to, I think, the environment right now. I think folks are struggling.
Right.
I think that's why we got so many applications. And I think the asks are really for those basic necessities. Costs have increased. And so how do we figure out how to manage our basic needs and also give our kids a little bit of a holiday celebration? And these families are struggling to figure out how to do that.
And so the other thing that I liked about this is that it says, please add a grocery card.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important because how many conversations, I mean, we have coffee right now, but how many conversations do you have over the table, right? And if you don't, you look forward to that meal and sharing your memories with your family and stuff. And if you don't have that meal, it just makes it that much worse, I think.
And that's part of so much holiday tradition, right? It's not only the gift giving, but it is that meal. It's that family meal and whatever the family looks like that year. And so many folks aren't able to do that. And so the grocery cards are a great way to say, get whatever you want, your ham, your turkey, whatever you're going to serve for the holiday, and make sure that you can put that meal together to enjoy that space and with your family.
Okay, so today is the deadline.
Today is the deadline.
We're pushing
so
it to the
let's
wire,
go.
but we're gonna do this.
Right.
Okay, so you can go to the website and then you can adopt a family. Can people donate financially, just directly if they don't have, a lot of people say, I don't have time to do this.
Absolutely. So if you don't have time to do it, we can absolutely go shopping for you. We can deliver the gifts for you. We can take care of all of that for you. You also can simply go to Amazon and have the gifts sent to their home because you will have their address. So you're free to do that as well. So we're really trying to make it as easy as possible for anybody who's interested. If you don't think you have the capacity to adopt a full family, but you can adopt one person and want to donate even $25, $50, we can combine all of that to try and serve as many families as possible.
So is this mostly, are there any seniors on this list?
We do. So we have a number of seniors that we serve as an organization. And so there are a number of individual seniors that are on the list as well. And we will make sure all of them get adopted, even if they just get a little basket. So that's really important to us as well. And then we've been so fortunate to have the Pulte Family Foundation adopt all of our veterans this year. We serve a number of veterans. And
really?
So the veterans are not on the list this year because
okay.
every single one of them has been adopted by that foundation.
Okay, so the veterans are not on the list. That is
veterans
awesome.
I know.
I
This
love
is the
that.
first time that's ever happened. You know, it's a beautiful program in that people go into it doing, I want to adopt a family. But because of the name in and of itself, when they kind of see the single senior or the single veteran, they're like, I hadn't really thought about the program that way.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes we end up providing for those. And so to have a donor come forward and say, just so graciously, we want to take all the veterans was
How many veterans
unbelievable.
was that?
They're doing 50 veterans, and they're doing a holiday meal on Wednesday for actually 60 veterans to come and do that.
That is lovely. That
Yeah.
is so awesome.
Yeah.
So, and especially for the seniors real quick, because, they may be alone.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have any family. They may be isolated. We know that loneliness has crept up for everybody, but a lot of seniors. So it's really important to get them taken care of.
It really is important. We have a number of affordable housing sites across the state, almost 1,000 apartments, and we serve about 1,200 individuals in those apartments. And we have seen post-COVID really that breaking out of that isolation is still a struggle. And so when we see community members come face to face and meet with those seniors, it is beautiful. Mm-hmm. They remember that there's someone out there that actually cares about them and is willing to gift them something, which is really exciting.
No, that is awesome. Okay, website. Let's get it done. Time's ticking.
voami.org. And if you go to that website, you will see front and center that that's where the adoptive family is.
I saw it at 3:00 this morning.
Yes, you did. It is bright red, and it is there for you to adopt.
Can't miss it.
Well, and we did this beautiful thing about, we don't want kids to wonder if Santa's coming this year. And so we really are encouraging families to jump on top of that.
Okay, we will help any way we can.
Thank you.
That, right? So Logan Dimitri, he is here, and you are a certified financial planner. And we go back a little bit of ways, right?
Yes.
And you, it's so funny. So real quick, can I mention your aunt? It's so funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is so crazy. So one of my very first shows, I had Sherry show up. She's a writer. She's been very supportive, and she's one of my top fans on social media, which I love. She just won the Moth, I think, in Detroit not too long ago, which was amazing. But Logan is her nephew. And so she walked in, and I was like, what is happening? But that has been an interesting point of the show because there's been so many connections that have been made or remade. You run into somebody you haven't seen in so long, and it's just been so amazing. So a big shout out to Sherry and her sister. Thank you for being here. And Logan, of course, I worked with the Center for Financial Planning for quite a while when the book came out, and doing your book tour for you guys. And it was so funny because we were at the kickoff of that, and I walked in and Logan was like, you look kind of lost. I'm like, I usually do, but here I am. So we became fast friends. But what's interesting about you is that you transitioned from working in the senior living community, right?
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about that because I find it so interesting.
Yeah. So I guess just historically, I kind of grew up around the senior living community with my mom, who's here. She's always worked in senior living. So with both parents working spring break a lot of times or half days, I spent at the senior living home playing cards with the folks there. So I've just always had a passion for seniors. So just finding my way, I found my way into senior living. And I worked there probably 7 years with independent senior living home and memory care.
Okay.
and started to really study personal finance to try and figure out how I could fund my education. I've always been debt averse. And so
Debt averse. I've never heard that before. Guess what, Logan? I am now officially debt averse too.
yes. And so from there, I started realizing my hobby of personal finance. I could use that and help people with that. Found a retirement planning position. I'm like, oh yeah, I could work with seniors there too. And eventually transitioned from Raymond James operations to the Center for Financial Planning when I met a partner on the chess team. So played chess with him. And I'm lucky to have a mentor at the Center for Financial Planning with Sandy Adams.
Oh, yeah, Sandy.
She's got her master's in gerontology, so it's just like a really good fit. We have this like passion to help seniors. So a lot of our clients are either seniors or even adult caregivers that are, they're busy with their kids, they're busy with their jobs, and then all of a sudden, a lot of times around the holidays, they, when you connect with family, they start seeing their parents are maybe having signs of like cognitive decline, more than just you forgot a word or something, but it's a pattern you look for, like starting to forget words, appointments. You had a scheduled time to connect with your grandkids on FaceTime, but you missed it, thought it was a different day. Things like that, I just urge you to, as you connect with your family over the holidays, look for those signs, because a couple of keywords, buzzwords that I heard today, something to watch out for with seniors: AI exploitation, huge.
Right.
I mean, the loneliness epidemic with seniors when they're alone. Um, what was that story about Keanu Reeves? There was a Keanu Reeves AI generated situation where this woman thought she had a relationship with Keanu Reeves and he needed some money. And it sounds so unbelievable at first. It's like, come on, Keanu Reeves asking for money? But AI has become so sophisticated, and with the loneliness, the exploitation, it's really getting like cutting edge. We're reacting to these exploitive.
And seniors are, they're just much like kids, right?
Yes.
Very vulnerable. And so I think when families are visiting and whether they're noticing any cognitive decline, they also have to maybe check out the computer situation or kind of be like, so do you need help with anything? Just to kind of see, because, often even texting, right? The texting scams. It's like, oh, how are you? I know I talked about it a month ago. My mom was getting asked for coffee from a number she didn't realize. She thought they were looking for me to have coffee because she doesn't drink coffee. And she started engaging with this person through text. And I'm like, block them, just block them. And then you start seeing it around, right? So it's another up and coming scam that you see. But because there's this loneliness aspect to people, it's like, oh, well, there's no harm in responding to this, right? I'll just respond and maybe I'll make a new friend. And then that new friend will ask you for what, a green dot card or money or something?
Gift cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something that we have to watch out for. Another thing too, though, is with the cognitive decline and maybe seniors being more vulnerable, we have to be careful about who they're giving their money to.
Yes.
Right. And so you can kind of keep an eye on that for people, right? To some degree.
Absolutely. We actually just had a situation with a client earlier this year where she was almost the victim of a scam. Luckily, we were able to intervene. There are basically regulations in place when something just seems off.
Okay.
As a fiduciary, it's our responsibility to actually try to stop it to our best ability, and we have backing to stop it, asking for additional evidence. Of course, it is the seniors' money, it's their money, we can't completely stop them from using it. But when something seems incredibly off, there are processes in place where we can support them. And in this situation, she just was not forthcoming about what was going on. She was asking for something that in her 90 years was completely out of character.
Okay.
And just no details. So we put the stops in
Interesting.
place.
Okay.
Made sure we started needing more details. And as we got more details, the story started changing, or it just wasn't adding up. And then this is where another buzzword I heard from you all is trust. A trusted contact is very important to have with your financial planner. Wherever your accounts are, make sure you have a trusted contact on file, because without that, we don't really know who to go to if we think something's up. And we can't provide information about your accounts, details, situations.
So the privacy is there.
Privacy is
Okay.
there. It's just to have somebody that we can contact if we can't get a hold of you, if we think something's up and we just need to speak to a family member, see, have you seen anything? See if it's a pattern. You know, you got to look for the red flags and find the pattern. So trusted contact, very important. The uptick in noticing these things is around the holiday, but keep those conversations going throughout the year. Schedule those FaceTime meetings. Add the contact to the Gab phone, was it?
Yes.
Make sure they
I'm adding you to their Gab phone. I'll be like, call Uncle Logan and he'll talk to you. He'll talk to you about your allowance app.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just make sure you're having those conversations. It doesn't need to just be around the holidays.
So why are people so embarrassed about finances? No matter the age.
That is such a deep topic. There are so many reasons people can be embarrassed to talk about it, or I almost think of it more like a taboo. People find talking about finance and money more of a taboo topic, you
Really?
know? Yeah, you're just, you either, maybe you don't feel like you have enough, so you're embarrassed to share, or maybe you feel if you bring it up, you might ostracize the person you're talking to. Like, friends don't always really talk about money, even relationships. That's the topic that, you know, you have a tough time connecting on. And it's so important. There shouldn't be a taboo there. It's about that proactive communication. Instead of being reactive, we should be proactive. You should have, for seniors, for example, you should have your estate planning documents, say power of attorney, will, trust, but not only have them, but ensure your agent, your executor, your trustee are actually aware that
They are that person.
Yes.
How many times it's kind of interesting, right? All of a sudden someone's like, "Oh, well, I didn't know I was in charge of the estate, but here we go." And it's a big job.
Oh, a
right?
huge job.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So people need to be they don't have to sign anything to say that they're willing to do that?
They do need to sign an acknowledgement.
Okay.
But a lot of times what will happen is you'll get them drafted and then you just don't go and have them sign.
They have to be notarized?
Acknowledge. They need to be notarized.
Well, see, that's why, because it's a pain to get something notarized. Let's just be honest.
It can be a pain. We do have notaries at our office. So.
Are you a notary?
I am
You're not,
not,
right?
no.
Okay. I thought about doing that, like being a mobile notary. So I
Yeah.
thought, oh, you know what? I could just drive around and notarize things.
That is such a great service. There are people
There
out
are,
there
right?
that do that. It's so great for seniors that just can't get to the notaries, that can't drive anymore, or just don't want to with the weather the way it is.
For sure.
So mobile notaries are an amazing service. So yeah.
Maybe a new side hustle. I don't know. Thank you so much. So what's your number one piece of advice for seniors this holiday season, along with the whole idea of scams and AI?
Yeah, number one piece of advice, stay connected. Proactive communication. If there's a senior that is out there that you know is lonely, look to adopt a senior maybe. Communicate. Stay in touch throughout the year. You know, build that community. So.
How do people get in touch with you?
You can find me at the website centerfinplan.com. send me an email, logan.dimitri@centerfinplan.com, or give me a call. Happy to chat with anybody.
Or maybe
anytime.
contact his aunt.
So- Oh, yeah.
His mom. Maybe reach out to her.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Seriously, it's always so much fun to see you. Okay, Phil, I'm sorry you have been in that spot the last couple of weeks.
It's all right. I can wait patiently
You
for my
can,
turn.
can't you?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that about you. Thank you so much. Of course, you are the executive director of Advancing Macomb.
Yes.
I've worked with you the past year. It has been so much fun. And you guys have been amazing with what you have done with these nonprofit cohorts, right? And accelerators. So January 15th?
Yeah, our
Is that the
new
date?
cohort applications for our nonprofit accelerator program open January 15th, but they'll close on January 31st. It's a pretty short
Is it?
application
Okay.
window.
Okay, how come that application window is so short?
In part because it's a really popular program and we only have 10 slots for participating organizations. So we regularly get more than 30 applications, and similarly to the Adopt a Family, to leave that application period open much longer might give a false sense of hope, but also creates on the back end quite a bit of work for us as we sort through applications and work to score everything and select those who will be in the cohort.
Okay, so first of all, I know what Advancing Macomb is, but a lot of people may not. So tell me
Yeah.
what it is.
Advancing Macomb is a nonprofit organization that actually works with other nonprofit organizations to help them get better at what they do. Nonprofits, though they often work in different service areas, whether that's online and digital safety or helping to support families during the holidays, there's some back-end stuff that is very similar from organization to organization in terms of how things are structured, what the flow of money might look like, how things are managed, and et cetera. And so we work with organizations to really bolster their ability to operate their programming. We're not programmatic experts necessarily, but when it comes to some of the core things like financial management or board operations or volunteer recruitment and management.
Well, look, I think you mentioned everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to cover it all. Those are the kinds of things where we really excel at helping to provide some education for new and emerging nonprofit leaders who maybe got themselves into something and now they're not really sure where to go next or where to find resources that would be helpful.
Running a nonprofit is not an easy thing, is it?
No.
What was your biggest challenge when you started?
Well, I didn't know anything.
Oh, well, see?
I had worked in the nonprofit sector for a long time, but like becoming an executive director or a founder, I was like, what in the world am I doing? This is like really hard. I could have another child before I could do the nonprofit again. And that's saying a lot. It's
is saying a
really
lot.
hard. It is really hard. And if you don't have the right support, how long will you stay alive, really?
It is a big question.
Yeah.
And a lot of nonprofits, especially in those early days, really do struggle to kind of find their footing and find their way forward. And what I've heard a lot from folks, especially those who saw a need in their community or experienced something that they wanted to have an impact in changing, they've incorporated this nonprofit and didn't know where to look for some of these other resources. It's not exactly like starting a small business per se, even though there might be some similarities. There's a lot of nuance and a lot of new things that you still have to learn in order to operate
Plus,
effectively.
I would think there's a lot of rules that you have to be very careful of, right?
There are definitely a fair amount of rules, yeah. And
Yes, Brooke Allen, thanks for asking that.
well, the compliance factor is pretty significant.
Okay.
You're working to make sure that you're filing paperwork with the IRS every year, you're filing paperwork with the state every year, you're filing paperwork with the Attorney General, depending on how much money you might be raising on an annual basis. You're looking at things like audit reports and reporting in your annual reports out to the community about the work that you're doing.
That does not sound fun.
It's a lot, right? And I mean, when you look at it compared to a small business, how many small businesses are doing that same level of compliance? I mean, there might be some paperwork to file with the IRS and with the state, but beyond that, small businesses don't necessarily have that same burden. So it's definitely, and if you don't know where to look
start, right?
and what kind of information you should be submitting on an annual basis or how to approach some of that, it can get really confusing.
So you'll pick 10 nonprofits.
Yes.
And then how long does this run?
The program runs for 4 months, our accelerator program, and I think the most recent cohort completed 14 discrete sessions around all of these different nonprofit management and operations topics, all of which were led by other nonprofit intermediaries or organizations that are similar to Advancing Macomb but already had some of this content developed. And we essentially line up this whole slate of programming for folks, and we put them through their paces, and by the time they come out of it, they should have a much better understanding of how they can operate to be sustainable and effective.
Plus, it's hybrid, and that might make a difference too sometimes,
Yes.
right?
Yes, many of the sessions are held virtually on Zoom, just to kind of keep it accessible and available for folks, because these are all scheduled in the evenings, and people have, day jobs, or they have families that they're trying to make sure that they're able to support. And we want this to be as easy for folks to complete as possible. So we do have some of our sessions are in person, some of the more detailed, sometimes deeper dive sessions where it can be helpful to have that in-person interaction and instruction, and the rest of the sessions are hosted virtually.
Okay, and this is just for Macomb nonprofits.
Yes, nonprofits that are either based in or serving Macomb County. And we do give some preference and some priority to organizations that are serving what are called ALICE populations. If you're familiar with that acronym, ALICE, the United Way developed that. It stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed, essentially people who have jobs but still struggle to afford basic necessities. But also we're giving some priority to organizations that are BIPOC-led, or Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. And these are organizations that historically and in the structure of the systems in place tend to get less support, less financial resources, and less opportunity to learn these kinds of things than other organizations might.
Okay, so the application process opens on January 15th.
Yes.
And it closes
January 31st.
January 31st. What do people need to know? What do they need in order to fill out that application?
Yeah, the application form is pretty easy to complete. We're going to ask some information about the organization itself and where your challenges are at. We're going to ask for some proof of 501c3 status, or if you don't have your status just yet, that you're working with a fiscal sponsor, so that there's somewhere that we can then, there's $1,000 stipend that we give to organizations. I was saving that. So once the organization successfully completes the whole program, we're able to send off this money to help them implement some of what they've learned. It's not a lot of money, but even $1,000 can make a pretty big difference to some of these small organizations. But we just need somewhere to send it. So that's why we need the fiscal sponsor if you don't have your own 501 status at that point. But the applications are not that difficult to complete. We will be hosting an informational session earlier in January for folks who want to learn more or get some questions answered.
Okay, that is awesome. And the website?
advancingmacomb.com.
Okay, and real quick with you, you believe in collaboration.
I do.
In a big way. And I
Yeah.
think that makes a difference, especially, the world seems so competitive at times. And I think collaboration is key, and especially with nonprofits. And I just love that you always talk about that. So can you talk about it real quick?
Yeah, well, and I'll use the Nonprofit Accelerator as a fantastic example of collaboration as well. Advancing Macomb is still a pretty young organization ourselves. We're 13 years old this year. And when we were conceptualizing how to implement this educational program, the choices were really develop all of the content ourselves, which would take an extreme amount of time. We could do it, but it would be really resource intensive for us to take that route. And the other option was to work with our friends and partners who've already developed the content that we were looking for and bring them in to deliver the content as part of our program. And so we are working with, I think it's 8 total partner organizations that are delivering this content as part of our Nonprofit Accelerator. It was a great opportunity to really build these relationships with these other organizations who, again, are working in similar spaces to what we're doing. But because they had already put the time and effort into developing this content, it was very easy to work with them to deliver it. So I think that's a really great way, when you're looking at how your organization might be able to achieve something more than what you can do on your own, working with others is always a great way to approach that.
And plus, it always seems like there's more than one nonprofit in the same space, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
rather than be competitive, just collaborate.
Yeah.
Right.
Funders like that, and you're able to get a lot more attention for what you're trying to achieve, and then you're also actually able to have a greater impact than what you might have been able to do on your own.
That is awesome. Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
As always, I appreciate you being here.
Glad to be here.
Okay, we are almost out of time, and I usually ask one specific question at the end, but I'm going to switch it up because we're in the holiday season and the new year is right around the corner. So, Amy, I'm going to start with you. What is your biggest wish for 2026?
To reach more children. Our hope is to reach more than 8,000 children in 2026.
Okay.
So yes, so it's a big undertaking, but one high school could have 1,000 children.
Right.
you know.
Okay.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so
we're super
8,000
excited. That's our goal.
8,000 kids, reach them.
8,000
Okay.
in 2026.
All right. Okay, Aubrey, how about for you?
Continue to serve more folks as well. We have 2 really large programs coming up. One is an affordable housing site that we should close on by the end of this calendar year for 61 units in the city of Detroit for people who are chronically homeless. And then we are opening another program that's working on this intersectionality between housing and healthcare, and that'll open February 1st. And so we've got some really great programming on the horizon that'll allow us to touch the community in a way that we know we do the work really well.
Awesome. Thank you. And Logan?
So, wish for the new year. I really like collaboration, like you had just mentioned. It's one of our values at the Center for Financial Planning, actually. And there are a few organizations that I work with. The Optimist Club, we serve an elementary school out in Pontiac. And Baldwin Society for Older Adults, supporting older adults. And I'd like to kind of get something going where I can collaborate. Maybe I'm a tennis fan. I love to play tennis.
Oh.
So maybe doing like a fundraising event around tennis, like some sort of mixer to raise funds for those organizations, and maybe even collaborate with some others that have similar values and missions. So
I love that.
let's stay connected.
All right, Phil, you're up.
My hope for 2026 is that all of your viewers and everybody in our communities will really think about how they can give back to their community, whether that's working with a nonprofit organization and making a donation or volunteering or donating goods and services. I would like to hope and think that everybody will consider one way next year that they can contribute back to where they're living and working.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to flip it around one more time. Okay, Phil, I'm going to start with you. What do you want personally in 2026?
Oh, what do I want personally in 2026? Oh, goodness. I did not get this question ahead of time.
I never give the questions ahead of time. You know this.
I would like a repeat of the many in-state trips I took in this past year and spending some time outdoors and just soaking up some nature. And somebody had recently shared with me a term called forest bathing.
Yes.
Which I really enjoyed
Really?
and want to do some more of this year.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you. Okay, Logan.
Personal for me, I would like to, as a tennis fan, I'm going out to Indian Wells this year in California to watch a big tournament out there. But I would like to find a beautiful tennis court out there, hopefully surrounded by some nature to enjoy a match with my buddies that I'm going with. So
Awesome. Okay, Aubrey, how about you personally?
So one of my neighbors in Boston was Lori McKenna, who's a songwriter, and she has a song called Happy Kids. I think that's what it's called. You have to look it up. I want my children to be happy. That's what I want for the year.
Hear, hear, sister.
I know, right? Live for them.
Okay, Amy.
More vacations. Some time, extended time off would be lovely.
Right.
Yeah.
And family time. And
My mom lives in South Carolina, and so we know that we're going to have to move her up here eventually. So we're also looking for a bigger home. You just life changes as we get older. So
it does indeed.
gotta
And
prepare.
well, we've got some connections,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
And I do know there's another connection in the house that has a good real estate connection. So I'll be able to hook you up with that as well.
Lovely.
Listen, thank you all. It has been such a pleasure to meet you in person. Aubrey, always great to see you. I'm waiting
too.
for that pool party, man.
Next summer, I
Next
promise.
summer, okay. All right.
There's not snow.
And Logan, I don't play tennis, but maybe we could try it out just for a laugh or two. I don't
through.
Absolutely. We've
Real
got
fast.
red ball tennis, easy to pick up.
Okay, sign me up for that. And Phil, always great to see you. Thank you so much. It is just, you've showed up at the After Dark shows. It has just been such a blast. And I wish you all a very, very happy holiday. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you
Same.
so much. It is cold today. Keep the coffee hot, like I always say. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.